In Nazarick, Albedo lies in Ains's bed, reflecting on her conflict, loving Momanga while attending to Ains but continuing to serve him. In Yggdrasil, Sorcerer King Ains Uul Gaun reads in bed. He has not noticed the risen sun. At the same time, Foy leaves to give her duty shift to Fifth while Ains exchanges his book for another. With Fifth now attending him, Ains permits her to dress him, and she adorns him in a red coat with gold ornaments and jewels, leading to Ains' embarrassment. In his office, he feeds Nuru Nuru before Fifth announces Albedo's arrival with a pair of elder liches. After welcoming them, Ains pretends to read their reports and stamps them as part of his daily administration. When his attention remains on a page, Albedo asks why, and Ains admits that he knows nothing of social laws. Albedo justifies it as a supreme being, not needing to be bound by mortal laws. Stamping the last document, Ains proceeds to read the submitted suggestions. The first anonymous one is to set up an education system for children to strengthen Nazarick. After reading his ideas, Albedo is disgusted by them, and Ains somehow convinces her and moves on. The next suggestion is Yuri's, which gives an idea for building an orphanage, which Ains approves of, as he can foster loyalty in the youths and give work to widows of the last battle. Ains wants Pastonia and Negrido to take care of this issue. Albedo reminds him that they sheltered infants and children when Ains ordered the deaths of humans captured during the attack in the capital to keep Nazarick and Jaldabaoth's relationship a secret. Still, Ains doesn't change his decision. Afterwards, Aura and Mare arrive to see the Lord, which surprises him. They came to sit in Ains's lap, much to Albedo's childish jealousy. Mare lets Albedo take his place to sit in Ains's lap. Then, Albedo examines his face and asks if he was thinking of the previous issue, which Ains pretends to know. When Mare is confused, Ains requests Albedo to explain the issue simply for the twins and himself to know while ordering her off his lap. Yggdrasil is the city of trade, but merchants hardly come to the newly founded Sorcerer Kingdom. They have only a limited amount of goods. However, Demiurge is taking action within the Riestes Kingdom, though Ains presumes him in the Holy Kingdom. Then, Albedo requests to go to Riestes as well, asking Pandora's actor to manage her duties until her return. Afterwards, Aura suggests that his subjects be allowed to cross-dress, which embarrasses Ains. Then, Ains meets Hamasuki, his massive hamster, with a death knight. He clarifies that Ains and Momon are two separate persons. Then, asking if Pandora's actor is present, then he meets his creation. Ordering an update on his activities as Momon, Pandora's actor reports no issues, but begs to return to Nazarick to tend to the items in his care. Ains sees Momon as his child, and asks him to surpass his original design. Pandora's actor starts calling Ains a father. Ains asks him and Fifth not to say this to avoid favoritism and maintain secrecy. Then Pandora's actor asks Ains how he will lead his Sorcerer Kingdom due to the civilians inquiring about Momon for service or fighting. Ains ponders Momon's question while he looks Yggdrasil below. Afterwards, Ains walks the city streets with Nuru Nuru hidden under his neck, noting the robot's function as city security. Fifth wonders why citizens did not come out to respect the Lord. Meanwhile, Ains sees the Adventurers Guild across the way. He entered, but nobody was present, and there were no job postings. Ains meets Guildmaster Pluton Ainzak upstairs, and tells him he wants to absorb the Adventure Guild into the kingdom. Ains inquires why the Adventurer Guild always works independently. Ainzak says as adventurers work to protect people, so they never associate themselves with the government nor lend their help in the war. If so, then Ains asks about the elves and half-elves, many enslaved by the Empire and Theocracy, and the other intelligent races like lizardmen, orcs, and goblins. Ainzak considers this to be unanswerable. Ains held a meeting with Ainzak to give him a proposal, as adventurers had a job, monster hunting, and security matters the undead could do effectively, so Ains wants to assemble the Guild of Adventurers to make them legal explorers of the unknown land. Pluton notes that such an undertaking could have been requested, but Ains counters that the Guild must maintain autonomy in case of an international incident. Pluton asks if Ains wants to invade nations explored by his adventurers. Ains explains that he has the military strength but won't do so unless the other nations attack him. Ains concludes his proposal by telling him that he wishes to make them genuine adventurers rather than just monster hunters. Hearing this, Pluton agrees to Ains's initiative and asks to be the first to join. Shortly after departing the guild, Ains realizes and turns to Fifth to tell her that he cherishes the creations made by his comrades but also seeks fair rule over his subjects. Thus, he wants to make a utopia where all who serve the name Ains Ul Gaun, no matter their race, are treated well, and the world will be as sweet as honey. At night, Ains Ul Gaun thinks about how he should rule at his sorcerer kingdom, pondering the words of Ulbert, rule as a dictator. He stands up, reflecting on Demiurge and Albedo's world victory scheme. Ains feels making the nation a utopia for all races while opening a window would bring peace and lead his friends in the new world to him. Ains sighs as he is unsure to tell his guardians about his decisions. Fifth misunderstands and apologizes, thinking she possibly failed to serve him on her shift. In Riestes, Renner finishes a book reading at a newly opened orphanage, then attended by Climb, with Evil Eye, and Tina. Renner claims the strong must save the weak, so they do not distract from the righteous path. That lead Climb recalls his memory of her rescuing him from poverty, explains how she arranged funds for orphanages, and also says that orphan homes will reduce crime among the youths. Renner also states if some orphans are found to have talent, other nobles may also invest, which Evil Eye pragmatically agrees on. Tina asks Evil Eye if she has a chance to kill the undead king, but she finds it impossible considering the rumors and believes Momon is the only one capable. At Rolente Castle, Minister informs Prince Zanak that the continued search for his brother, Prince Barbo, yielded no results. Prince Zanak orders another search. Marquis Revon has not been seen since he returned to his domain after the Lost War. Prince Zanak then goes to greet Renner while pondering. As he is the next candidate for the king, he has to deal with Sorcerer's Kingdom first without losing face with the nobles. Renner informs him of the arrival of the delegation from the Sorcerer Kingdom as if he wants to tribute them. Once a guard relays about the envoy's arrival, Zanak thanks Renner with the promise of granting a domain for her to live out her life as he leaves, but she denies his offer under her breath once she's alone. Elsewhere, Vesture Clof Dilofen trains Brain using his six-fold slash, who notes the change in Brain's expressions. He tells that Gazif, trained by Vesture, died against Ains in the blink of an eye. Brain is seeking talent among the youths to replace Gazif as a head warrior. He thinks himself unfit for that position. Staring into storm clouds, Brain admits they will need all their strength they can muster, especially against the Sorcerer King. On the other hand, Prince Zanak stands outside the city walls of Riestes and watches how the clouds provide a clear sky for the diplomatic envoy of the Sorcerer King. Zanak greets Death Cavalier and explains his role in guiding them to a diplomatic venue, orders his men not to disrespect. Then he meets the leader of the diplomats, Albedo. At the venue, in the evening, a weak noble stands by a corner in disgust for the crowd. Then Albedo arrives. The drunk young noble, mesmerized by her beauty, walks up to her and introduces himself as Philip Dayton Lair Montserrat and invites her to his party. Later, in Philip's house, his father criticized Philip for performing this stunt, reminding him that he was sent to the nobility faction and would see him as his family's next heir. Philip tells his father to calm down, as Riestes is bordering Nazarick. Maybe they could work a deeper relationship with the Sorcerer Kingdom. Philip is glad his brother died in the Sorcerer Kingdom so that he is next to inherit the family. At Hilma's estate, Philip is unpleasant as nobody greets him as host. Hilma says that she invited family heads and future heirs, and they will become powerful as Philip leads them. Then, Philip accompanies Albedo to the room for the ball while planning to take charge of the faction. At the entrance, he asked about her married status and was pleased to hear she was single. He then asks Hilma how to court Albedo and presents his recent success with the venue, yet the terrified Hilma urges him not to pursue it, but Philip was ignorantly dismissive. Later, Albedo wipes off her shoulder in disgust that Philip touched her as Hilma leads her to the sitting room. Hilma asks Albedo if she would like a new pawn for Ainnes's plans, but Albedo assures Hilma that it would be a waste. In the sitting room, Albedo greets the heads of 8 fingers and begins instructing them on what goods to smuggle into Yggdrasil. In the night, Albedo meets with a delighted Renner to forward that Ainnes is happy with her efforts and gifts her a box. Albedo asks if she knows her next task well. Renner knows what she must do and is happy to earn her reward. Albedo concludes their serious talk by having a girl talk with Renner about her puppy, Climb, and Albedo about Ainnes. A few days ago, when Albedo was preparing to leave for the Riestes kingdom, Ainnes asked her to be careful as Shaltir's attackers were still unknown. She assures him to hold the Jinangagapap so she will not be affected by brainwashing. Then Albedo asks for a kiss, as she claims it can boost immunity, and he kisses her on the cheek. Then she starts crying, so he hugs her to calm her down. Ainnes wishes her safe travels as she says goodbye to Lord Momonga. After Albedo drives out of sight, Ainnes orders Lumiere to forget everything she saw from the farewell. In the slain theocracy, the 6 cardinals conduct a meeting over the founding of the sorcerer kingdom of Ainnes Ul Gaun, led by Cardinal Raymond Zarg Loransan. In the war with the Baharuth Empire, Riestes' kingdom suffered greatly. The Gaun has taken the Yggdrasil city to announce the founding of the sorcerer kingdom. Dominic Ere Partouche, Cardinal of Wind, says that an undead ruler is a hell on earth situation. As the Baharuth Empire recognizes the sorcerer kingdom, Cardinal Yvon Jasna asks if they should have interfered sooner. Still, Cardinal Bernice Nagua voices they decided not to torment Gaun at the time. Cardinal Maximilien Aurel Lagier asks about the Empire's planning, as if magic controls the Empire. Cardinal Zinedine Delen Guelfi refuses, as the Empire has Paradigm. Shocked to learn that Ainnes commanded 500 Death Knights during the war, as reported by Thousand Leagues astrologer, Raymond does not believe humans could fight Death Knights, while Godkins are more likely. 2 Godkins would be able to fight the army of Death Knights, as Thousand League astrologer witnessed the power to which even Godkin cannot defeat. Once Raymond reveals the rest of the full report, everyone learns that Ainnes caused 130,000 deaths in one spell. With that in mind, Dominic notes that Riestes is too weak in martial power. Maximilian explained that the kingdom was led to a safe region to grow and prosper and to develop heroes and monster slayers. Yvonne reflects that they fell into drug corruption, thus becoming a hopeless nation. Maximilian votes to lead the empire to take over Riestes, with Bernice supporting his plan. After returning to the main topic, Raymond reveals that Ainnes destroyed the sunlit scripture, and Bernice inquires if Ainnes was allied to the Honey Open Yoko, a vampire who encountered black scripture. Yvonne thinks both are undead, and Maximilian notes that Jalda Beoth is also arriving around the same time. Dominic notes the 3 monsters appeared in the Riestes kingdom in the same time frame, leading Maximilian to believe they're companions. Yvonne questions Mamon's mysterious arrival and is suspicious that he'd served the Sorcerer King. Dominic theorizes the vampire and Jalda Beoth are separate from Mamon and Ainnes, with Maximilian afraid all 4 could be allied. However, Raymond counters the theory, as Mamon destroyed the vampire. Then Vaughn recommends having Mamon and Ainnes fight each other, and Dominic votes to avoid direct involvement. Raymond agrees. They decide on heading to the Empire, hoping the Emperor isn't already immersed under Ainnes. In the Baharuth Empire, Jukniv curses Ainnes and recalls that the priest told him that the undead could die with holy magic. A clerk enters, asking if he needs the paperwork to the secretary, all of which are resignations from the Knight Orders following the war, as they witness the massacre of Cat's Plains. Jukniv wants to see the papers directly to continue supporting the Knights. The clerk says that the merchants have come to him asking for an audience. Glad that the slain theocracy has agreed to a covert meeting, Jukniv needs their alliance but held the meeting in the Colosseum. The next evening, Jerkniv talks with Buzzywud and Nimble in a vehicle to the Colosseum, with Buzzywud confirming they'll meet Silverthread Bird at the entrance. Jerkniv counters that Momont is adamantite and keeps the people safe from Ain's wrath, so Silverthread Bird being adamantite should equate to equal protection. When Nimble and Buzzywud gave him the freedom to express himself, they see how worn Jerkniv has been since Ain's arrived. Shaking away lost hair, Nimble states that it is impossible to counter Ain's. Jerkniv chooses to continue for humanity's sake. The Empire has no guarantee that Ain's will show mercy even if they surrender. Thus, he is seeking Slane's help as their practices refined for centuries longer than the Empire's. At the entrance, Silverthread Bird greets and introduces themselves to Jerkniv, then proceed to the meeting room. He does not sense any magic. As he conducts a secret meeting, Jerkniv asks the team to wait outside, orders Fan Long to break the locks to allow privacy. Following their exit, Jerkniv reflects on Fluter's defection, which makes him depend on adventurers. Soon after, the meeting begins with the arrival of the head priests of the Fire and Wind temples and 2 undercover slain cardinals, with 1 bodyguard each taking their seats. As Raymond hands Jerkniv a paper questionnaire to answer, he takes it, then waving to the audience before the next match with the Warrior King. Jerkniv doesn't know who the Warrior King is fighting, as the battle was added last minute. When Raymond asks for Jerkniv to finish the questionnaire, he can't, as everyone hears the announcer reveal that the surprise challenger is Ain's Ul Gaun. Jerkniv is stunned before realizing the Cardinals now distrust him. Cardinals say that he chose the venue and played them to force involvement when he tried to explain his innocence. Thinking there was a leak, Jerkniv concludes that Ain's played him since the start of his present position. Before he can escape, a flying Ain's greets Jerkniv from out of the booths. Still, Raymond strategically moves by, telling him that his group has an emergency. As they leave, Ain's asks if Jerkniv is well after seeing him turning pale. As the Emperor reassures him, Ain states that personal well-being is important, and then flies back down. The head priests of Fire and Wind accuse Jerkniv as a traitor. Jerkniv asks about their view on Ain's. They admit not to accept the undead king. The priests depart, leaving Jerkniv alone with his knights, shouting for the Warrior King to win, his last chance against Ain's. Thanks for watching my anime recap. If you liked it, subscribe and give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to turn on notifications by clicking the bell icon so you don't miss future videos. Leave a comment and let me know what you thought of the recap. I hope to see you all in part 2 of the series.